You know, I have had like what most women have had. People say things like, you know, we hired a woman once and it didn't work, so we're not going to hire another woman. You know, you would never say that about a man. We're not going to hire a man again. I mean, it's crazy. You can't be lumped together like that. I always tried to turn it around. If something wasn't functioning, I was like, my job is to make it function. So if there's somebody's having a problem, I will go pull that person aside and say, okay, is there something we can do here? I'm feeling, you know, I would never do it in a public way, to try to work it out, because I still have to do my job. So I always dealt with things that way. Have I had things said to me that you can't quite believe? Absolutely. The way I dealt with it was with a sense of humor. You know, I had someone say to me once, so when are we going to take our clothes off? And I said, you first. You know, so everyone deals with that in their own way. You know, I love what I do, and I love being a storyteller, and I was going to continue doing it no matter what. So that just became something that I felt, you know, I had to deal with, and I tried to deal with it in the most effective way I felt I could. Would it be better if you didn't have to deal with that? Of course it would be, but I don't feel like, I don't know, I've never been in the back rooms where someone's making a decision and I wasn't hired. So I don't hear those conversations. But, you know, I've certainly have been very fortunate, you know, to continue working on things that I wanted to work on. But I don't know any woman that hasn't experienced some sort of discrimination, you know. But I guess, like all of us, I just chose to work through it.
What do you think needs to change to get to the next level of this?
I think we need to get to a place where this is no longer an issue. Like, I don't think it's easy for anyone to direct, but I don't think it should be easier or more difficult. I don't think it should be more difficult for our daughters to direct than our sons. It should be the same amount of difficult, you know. And I think that's really important, that it becomes an equal playing field, and that none of these things are issues. Like, if you would have asked me when I started directing, would we be talking about this issue now in 2018? I would have said absolutely not. This will be resolved. This will be a non-issue. And the fact that we still need to talk about it says a lot. But I do think things are changing. I really do. I think we're at a tipping point. And, you know, listen, I have been very well mentored by many men. You know, I love being a woman. I don't want to be a man, you know, but I don't think this should be an issue. I would love the fact that there will be a point. I look forward to that when it's a non-issue, that people get hired because they're good directors. And, you know, I think it's small-minded to think that a male director can't direct a predominantly female cast. We've seen it done beautifully. Or it's just as insane to say a woman can't direct action or a comic book movie, if that's material that interests her. We're directors, you know, we direct stories, and I think the more diversity within that makes for more interesting storytelling. But, you know, I wouldn't want to put any label on any director that because of the gender that they happen to be or the race that they happen to be born into. I think those are insights you bring to storytelling, and I think that's a positive. So, you know, yeah, sure. I don't know any woman that hasn't had crazy things said to them. So I think you have to find your own way of dealing with that, and hopefully maybe there'll be a point where we don't have to deal with that. And I don't, you know, I know men who have had problems. So I think this is, any time you have a hostile work environment or when someone is discriminated against, you know, and they can't do their work well, that's not fine, whoever it is.